awfully hoping we don't get taken down for use of all those musicians, all of whom I guarantee you are now dead. I'm back in London and having teas and lunches and breakfast with people in various assorted places in order to get TOTP, not only the Toast Office, together for our big meeting in April. This is St Pancras Station with the Handsome Place, which is actually very nice to come for afternoon tea and thoroughly enjoyable for all our heavy meetings with very important people. Unlike the post office scandal, the false allegations scandal, and indeed the miscarriages of justice scandal, has numerous assorted, well-meaning and often very well-organised small units, I felt that they needed to get together as a sort of umbrella meeting to say, look, the system is broken, it has to be sorted out. As a result, I've been getting a lot of the leaders of these organisations together, and we've been discussing the possibility of holding such a gathering probably in April this year, somewhere in the middle of England like Birmingham, where everybody gets together, says what's happened to them, as happened in the post office original meeting, and starts putting in motion a way to get some changes and also to get some of the innocent people who are currently locked up in Britain's prisons, blocking them, I'm here to say, released. Sad news last week that my old friend Steve Wright had died at the young age of 69. I'm now 79. Steve was a very good DJ, although I actually thought he rather lost his way in the last 15 years or so and got a bit predictable. But when he started, he was excellent. But he was also one of the sweetest people, one of the nicest people I've ever known, certainly one of the nicest DJs. Way back in the 90s when I was producing the Brits and reviving them after the disaster years, Steve called me and said, could I possibly organise tickets for his kids to go to the Brits? Which of course we did. Every time I saw him after that, he thanked me for doing that, although it was very easy to do. And until the last time I saw him, which was a few years ago now, he every time said, oh, JK, I must thank you for what you did for my kid and the Brits. All his kids are now in their 30s and 40s, but he was so grateful. A really, really nice human being and a very good DJ. I can't stand anything about Donald Trump, and I'm actually against almost every one of his policies. He's far too right-wing, and I'm actually rather left-wing. But I have to say, A, I hate the way that he's been fought against, and B, I admire the way he refuses to let it get him down and even managed to get elected president with the entire media basically against him. But C, I quite like the fact that he says these outrageous things and gets away with them. Take the NATO situation. I actually think he's 100% right that the NATO countries all ought to be paying their way, paying at least the 2%. Let's face it, America has paid much more over the years. And in fact, I believe in 2014, only 3 of the countries in NATO paid the 2%, which is a real disgrace. That's now gone up, and the new head of NATO is proudly saying this year, it will be 18 of the countries who pay 2%. It's still bad. Every country should be paying it. Why should America be having to pay so much more? I think Trump has got a point, even though he tends to say it in rather outrageous ways, none of which he sticks with. It just does it to cause controversy. Don't get me wrong, I can't stand the man, but I hate the media treatment of him even more. One of the tracks of mine that's got the most enormous comments has been The Great Reset's When Caravaggio Met Michelangelo.
It's almost like there should be a celestial talent show in heaven for all pop stars to take voters instead of ye old, ordinary punters.
It was a hot July day in heaven, and the sky was blue below. All the citizens of paradise were attending the Celestial Millennium Talent Show. Last time they had witnessed a real surprise when the architect of Petra had won instead of the favourite, the Egyptian sculptor Tuthmose, for his bust of Nefertiti's head. Chaucer was there for the Canterbury Tales with the creator of Sydney's Opera House Sales. King Lear was a contender, as was Bleak House and the man who designed the computer Matt Mouse. Aristotle got there late, he had trouble parking and sat down between Lowry and Philip Larkin. Picasso spoke to Rubens, Sophocles with his mum, but Dr. Viagra sadly couldn't come. A hush fell and God announced the two finalists, The Death of the Virgin by Caravaggio and The Statue of David by Michelangelo. There was the expected uproar and the odd supportive cheer. Jean Genet walked out pale, shaken and feeling a little queer. Rachmaninoff hissed to Beethoven, the judges must be deaf or dead, and Beethoven was heard to reply, what was that you said? Several felt they should have chosen Heroes Gateway Arch, and the stuffed church favoured the man who'd invented starch. The Scots championed TV and John Logie Baird, whilst others whispered softly, thank God we were spared. The Orientals considered Hockeside's Great Wave very good, but Van Gogh felt a chair was the better use of wood. The Statue of David won, of course, by a mile, though Da Vinci felt he'd deserved it for that smile. When Caravaggio met Michelangelo at the Celestial Millennium Talent Show. When Caravaggio met Michelangelo at the Celestial Millennium Talent Show. When Caravaggio...
The nightmare that is Gaza continues, and I can't believe how Israel has got away with how they've been behaving. They've been behaving far worse than Russia invading Ukraine, as bad as the Gestapo and the Nazis in Germany. They've been lying, they've been saying the most appalling things, they've been doing, I hate that way they kept telling all the Palestinians in Gaza to move south and then start bombing the south. It really is a disgrace, and I think somebody should do something about it. I think actually NATO months ago should have sent huge forces into Gaza to kick the Israelis out of Gaza, to sort out Hamas, which I think means immediate release of those hostages, because what happened on October the 7th was appalling, and actually get things back on a balanced, even keel. Still, you've got to be sorry when the media is again so obviously on one side and not the other, especially the American media, and you think to yourself, no, hang on a moment, when these Labour people are being dislaboured for having said something. For example, take the guy who said that Israel had deliberately turned a blind eye to Hamas doing the massacre on October the 7th, so they had an excuse to invade Gaza. Now, we all know that's a rumour that's been going round for some time. None of us know whether it's true or false, or partly true or partly false. The guy was stupid not putting it that way and saying there is this rumour around, which he could have said because we all knew it anyway. But being as what he said was that it was a fact, that was wrong. It isn't a fact. We don't know that. So as a result, yes, he deserved to be penalised, but kicked out of Labour. I've got to admit, I'm not a fan of Keir Starmer's anyway. Ever since he was DPP, Director of Public Prosecutions, and brought in the "you will be believed even if you are lying" police edict to all false accusers, I thought, hang on a moment, this guy is essentially shit. And ever since he's become Labour leader, where he absolutely does anything that the public will give him votes for and moves away like a grass leaf in the wind with everything that he thinks will get him votes, the more loathsome I find him. I'm not keen on the others either, but I have to say I think Starmer is the lowest of the low, and he shouldn't be kicking people out for minor indiscretion of Labour. They should kick Starmer out and replace him immediately, in my humble opinion. So, how is NOTPO going? Not only the post office. Well, we're going pretty well. I've been trying to get together all the leaders of all the various factions that are fighting for various things and saying, why don't you all group together, send the time and the address and the place to your members, any who want to turn up and speak or contribute to a discussion on what we do to change the broken criminal justice system in Great Britain. We'll put forward some suggestions, and then we'll see if, as happened in the post office scandal with Alan Bates, played by Toby Jones in it, it kickstarts something that leads to a total reform, that leads to a lot of people being released from prison who should not be in prison at the moment, that sorts out a lot of the mistakes. We'll never sort them all out. That's the way the world is. But as long as we sort out the worst ones and stop the worst ones from happening in the future, that's what we want. So essentially, it looks like we're going to have a meeting, a gathering in April sometime. I rather favour April the 1st. It's Easter Monday, a holiday. Everybody can get there. They're not working, which is convenient for a lot of people. Also, it happens to be April Fool's Day, and I like that idea because it shows that what we're saying is it's the criminal justice system that are fools at the moment, and the politicians who don't deal with it, and they've all got to change. Anyway, very interested to hear your thoughts, your opinions, and hopefully see you at the event if and when it takes place. Another of my Eurovision attempts and failures, Heroes Zeros.
You are a beautiful boy from a beautiful land. You look so handsome walking on the sand. You came up to me and you held my hand. It seems so bizarre, but I understand. In the summer sun, by the summer sea, for 2 long weeks, it was just you and me. You were always going to break my heart. I'm glad that I'm over you. You were always going to break my heart. I'm glad that I'm over you. You had to go home and I had to stay, but you swore that it wasn't going to be that way. You call me and speak to me every day, and we talk for hours
Congratulations, Prince Harry, on beating the Mirror Group and getting a massive payout. Piers Morgan, my old friend and colleague, we were on The Sun together, on the Bizarre column together, and I've known him for a long time. He's a really good guy. He's a great interviewer. He's carved out a very good career for himself. But let's face it, he's talking rubbish when he says, as editor of the Mirror, he didn't know any phone hacking or anything was going on. This is only my opinion, but it is based on the fact that I was in the media throughout the last decades of the last century, in the 70s, 80s and 90s especially, and I had a regular weekly page in The Sun, and I wrote for all the newspapers, and I was well aware of the fact of what was going on, and it was great. It wasn't technically illegal in many cases. The more intelligent publications made sure that it wasn't just at arm's length, but it was at 2 arms' length, and most of them have, as a result, escaped censure. The more stupid ones weren't aware of that, and the real dummies, like the News of the World, have actually ended up closed because they were so stupid. But the reality was, everybody was at it. Everybody wanted the one thing that mattered, which was a good story. That's what your editors asked you to do, file a good story. How you got it, they didn't mind, as long as it didn't reflect badly, especially not illegally, on the newspaper or the company concerned. Everyone got on with it. Everyone denied it. Everybody found ways of getting around it. Loopholes for the stupids. And that's what went on. Anyway, well done, Prince Harry. And I'm a big fan of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle because, again, the whole media has taken against them, mainly because Meghan Markle dared sue and win. And they're all opposed to everything they say or do. I think good luck to the two of them. I'm 100% in favour. So, there.
I saw you walking down the street. Your hair was hanging to your knees. Your waist was waving like a ship. The way you looked made me sick. I wished a glance you gave a smile. I couldn't breathe, felt really high. Some other man was standing round. He looked at me and made me proud. I asked you, baby, what's the time? You looked right deep into my eyes. It made me brave and soon you smiled. Said, what you gonna do tonight? I'm in the mood of going out. You held my hand and then we went to different places till I said, us go to bed. It made me sing a loop-de-loo. It made me sing a loop-de-love. Love-de-loop-de-loop-de-love. Love-de-loop-de-loop-de-love. While singing loop-de-loop-de-love. We're doing loop-de-loop-de-love. Love-de-loop-de-loop-de-love. Close your eyes. You held me tight, I kissed you twice. We started loving in a way till there was nothing to be said. And then you whispered in my ear, it's time to pay the word, my dear. I hope you're really satisfied. Another one's waiting outside. Singing loop-de-loo. It made me sing loop-de-love. Love-de-loop-de-loop-de-love. Love-de-loop-de-loop-de-love. While singing loop-de-loop-de-love.
I I have to say it was an absolute nightmare last weekend trying to drive anywhere in London. All the roads were completely blocked up, so my plan to go and see Poor Things had to be cancelled, and I spent about 3 hours in the car in traffic. Of course, the thing that everybody's been speaking about over the weekend is Navalny. Did Putin kill Navalny? And I have got exclusive revelation. He did indeed, personally. He disguised himself as a prison warder, got into the prison, and ended up injecting Navalny with a rather unpleasant kind of drug that only the Russians know how to make. Of course, I'm being silly, but actually, of course, he was responsible for Navalny's death. But what puzzles me is, why don't people complain about all the other deaths that all the other states are responsible for? Take Great Britain. I have to tell you, the post office scandal caused several people to die, and it was murder, just rather more subtly done than Putin does it. And I have to say, as far as the false allegations industry is concerned, hundreds, thousands of people have been killed by it. I happen to know in my 2018 case, 3 people died as a direct result of Surrey police behaviour. Dennis Corday died, aged about 88. The stress killed him. Rob Randall died at 79 and actually committed suicide, leaving a suicide note which was ignored by Surrey police and by the coroner, who decided it was a natural death. And Lawrence Pollinger, who was accused of being a victim of one of the other men, which was completely untrue, and said to me it was the worst thing that had ever happened to him, and as a result he was rushed to hospital. He was quadriplegic, having damaged himself in a motorcycle accident many years earlier, and he eventually died as a direct result of the false allegations against me and others. So there are very many reasons why society, even seemingly democratic societies, kill people. And I would say, especially watching the post office scandal, and Andrew Malkinson, who spent 17 years in jail for a rape he did not commit, I'm surprised he survived it. Many do not. But the trouble is, nobody cares. That's why not only the post office is a new crusade. See you next episode.